Welcome back, everyone. Today's deep dive, it's a whirlwind tour, really.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so we're going to skim some global headlines and then some surprising AI developments that are happening. It's kind of like skimming the headlines, but actually, diving in a little bit further.
Yeah, like getting to the why does this matter?
Exactly. And,
Like getting past the what and into the why.
yeah, and we have a fantastic mix of sources for this one.
We do. We've got news channels, financial reports, even some cultural insights from around the globe.
All right, so get ready for prisoner exchanges, record-breaking hurricanes, and AI so good that it's actually causing market chaos.
All in a day's work, right?
Yeah, that's right. So to kick things off, I thought we'd start by getting a feel for the sheer volume of news out there.
Okay.
We pulled some headlines from the My New WS YouTube channel covering everything from Israel to the Ukraine to Hurricane Milton.
Hit it.
Okay, rapid fire round. An Israel-Palestine prisoner exchange.
Wow.
Russia-Ukraine war is now over 1,000 days long.
It's hard to believe.
Trump is putting new tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China.
All at the same time.
At the same time. Also, there was a medical jet crash in Philadelphia. Myanmar is holding elections, and Hurricane Milton just slammed into Florida.
That's a lot to take in.
It is a lot to take in, but, that's the world we live in.
Yeah, constant change, constant complexity. But instead of just skimming the surface, let's pick a few of these stories and really dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a good place to start is that Israel-Palestine prisoner exchange.
All right.
183 Palestinian prisoners and 3 Israeli hostages finally going home after years of being held captive.
Right.
Can you imagine that emotional roller coaster?
It's a powerful reminder of the human cost of these conflicts. And it's important to note that this is actually the 4th such exchange under a ceasefire agreement.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it highlights just how delicate the situation is and how much work remains to be done to achieve a lasting peace.
It really makes you think about the long road to healing and reconciliation, not just for the individuals involved, but for entire communities.
Yeah, and sadly, that road can be incredibly long and difficult. Just look at the situation in Ukraine. Day 1073 of the war.
It's unbelievable.
And there's still no end in sight.
No, it's truly heartbreaking. And then, to add insult to injury, Russia targeted Odessa.
Oh no.
A UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Right.
It feels like a deliberate attempt to not only win the war, but to erase Ukrainian culture and history as well.
Yeah, you're right. Targeting cultural sites is often seen as a way to demoralize the population.
Right.
Strike at the heart of their identity.
For sure. And, on that note, it's interesting that Trump has expressed a desire to speak with Putin.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a potential game changer. But speaking of shaking things up, we've got to talk about Trump's tariffs.
Okay.
Slapping them on Canada, Mexico, and China all at once. That's a bold move.
Bold, maybe, but also potentially risky.
Yeah.
There could be significant economic consequences for the U.S., both domestically and in terms of its relationships with these key trading partners.
Yeah, like he's playing a high-stakes game of poker with the global economy. Hopefully he knows what he's doing, because the ripple effects could be felt far and wide.
For sure. And speaking of ripple effects, let's shift gears and talk about Hurricane Milton.
Okay.
This wasn't just any hurricane. This was one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes ever recorded.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, it hit Florida just weeks after another major hurricane.
Right, back to back.
2 devastating storms in such a short period.
The damage is extensive. At least 35 fatalities.
Oh, wow.
And a staggering $34.3 billion in damages.
It raises a really important question. Is Florida equipped to handle these increasingly frequent and intense hurricanes? Rebuilding takes time and resources, and the emotional toll on those communities is immeasurable.
It's a stark reminder that climate change is a real and present danger.
Yeah.
And its impacts are already being felt around the world.
Yeah.
But amidst all this, we also see incredible resilience and a determination to rebuild and adapt.
That's right. It's that human spirit that keeps us going. And speaking of pushing boundaries, let's talk about a technological revolution brewing. Have you heard of DeepSeek?
I have. They're a Chinese AI company that's suddenly making everyone in the tech world sit up and take notice. Their DeepSeek R1 model is rivaling OpenAI's O1. That's the engine behind ChatGPT, but in the realm of science.
So imagine AI not just writing poems or code, but actually solving complex scientific problems.
Right.
Designing new experiments, even making groundbreaking discoveries.
Exactly. And then there's their Janus Pro 7B.
Yeah.
It's an AI model that generates images, kind of like Daily 3, but even more sophisticated.
Wow.
And their chatbot is topping the app download charts. It's like they came out of nowhere and are now leading the pack.
And they're doing it all at a fraction of the cost of their competitors.
It's crazy.
Which is sending shockwaves through the financial world.
Uh-huh.
NVIDIA, for example, saw its market cap drop by a massive $600 billion in a single day.
Yeah, that's the power of disruption. DeepSeek's success is a sign that the AI landscape is rapidly evolving, and the old guard is scrambling to keep up.
It's exciting and a little bit scary all at the same time, but what makes DeepSeek particularly interesting is their approach to open source. Right.
They're sharing the weights of their AI models.
Yeah.
Think of it like sharing the building blocks of the AI's brain.
It's a bold move that has the potential to democratize access to powerful AI tools, fostering collaboration and accelerating innovation.
Right.
But of course, it also raises concerns.
Yeah, not everyone is thrilled about this. There's an ongoing investigation by the Dutch privacy watchdog, and there are rumors about Chinese state-linked accounts manipulating market perception.
It's a classic example of the tension between the incredible potential of AI and the need for responsible development and oversight. It's a debate that's only going to intensify as AI becomes more powerful and pervasive.
Definitely a lot to unpack there, and we'll be diving into all the nuances of this AI revolution in part 2. But before we do, let's take a quick detour to Taiwan.
Yes. We've got a story about a fascinating cultural tradition there,
Okay.
where people borrow money from deities during the Lunar New Year for good fortune.
Okay, tell me more about this.
All right, so they make offerings, say prayers, cast divination blocks, and if they get the go-ahead, okay.
They can borrow a small sum from the land god and his wife.
Oh, wow, that's so interesting.
Then after the new year, they repay the loan, with interest, of course.
Wait, so the interest rate is based on how well your business did that year?
Exactly.
That's amazing. Talk about aligning your financial goals with your spiritual beliefs.
It really highlights how deeply spirituality and economic aspirations are intertwined in some cultures. It's a reminder that our relationship with money is often shaped by traditions and beliefs that go far beyond pure economics.
I love that. And speaking of cultural happenings, let's hop over to the UK.
All right, London's calling.
Yeah, it seems like London is a hotbed of activity today.
It does, doesn't it?
On one hand, we've got Tommy Robinson supporters clashing with counter-protesters, highlighting the ongoing tensions around far-right movements.
Right, it's a stark reminder of the deep divisions that still exist in society.
But on a brighter note, the UK is also celebrating National Storytelling Week, Black History Month, and LGBT plus History Month.
Yeah, and they've got the Six Nations Rugby Championship and Dark Skies Festival coming up.
Plus, they've got the Six Nations Rugby Championship and Dark Skies Festival coming up. That's amazing. It's a nice reminder that even amidst political turmoil, there's always room for cultural expression and celebration.
It's all about finding that balance.
And that seems to be the theme of the day, doesn't it? Finding balance amidst the chaos. We've got global conflicts, AI advancements, natural disasters, and unique cultural traditions all swirling together in this crazy tapestry we call life.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it's a lot. Welcome back. It's amazing how all these seemingly unrelated stories, like, from prisoner exchanges to hurricanes to AI, are all part of this, interconnected world we live in.
Exactly. We're piecing together a giant puzzle, and each piece offers a glimpse into, these complex forces that are shaping our lives.
And speaking of forces shaping our lives, we've got to dig deeper into this whole DeepSeek thing and, this rise of AI. This isn't just a tech story, right? It's a geopolitical story, an economic story, and maybe even a philosophical story all rolled into one.
Absolutely. The fact that a Chinese company is suddenly leading the charge in AI development is a sign of how the global balance of power is shifting.
Right. It used to be all about military might. But now it's about who controls the algorithms, the data, the very fabric of our digital lives.
And DeepSeek's open source approach adds another layer of complexity. On one hand, it could democratize access to these powerful AI tools, leading to incredible innovation.
But on the other hand, it raises all these questions about control, accountability, and the potential for misuse.
Think about it. What if someone with malicious intent got their hands on these AI models? The consequences could be devastating.
It's like giving everyone access to a nuclear reactor without a proper safety manual. The potential benefits are enormous, but so are the risks.
And that's why the scrutiny from regulators, like the Dutch privacy watchdog, is so important. We're entering uncharted territory here, and we need to figure out how to harness the power of AI without unleashing unintended consequences.
It's a tough balancing act. But amidst all this talk of AI and technological disruption, it's fascinating to see how these ancient traditions, like that Lunar New Year money-borrowing custom in Taiwan, persist.
It's a reminder that human nature is remarkably constant. The desire for good fortune, prosperity, and a little bit of divine intervention transcends time and culture.
It's also a stark contrast to the world of AI, which often feels cold and calculating. We've got these advanced algorithms solving complex problems, and then we've got people casting divination blocks to see if they can get a loan from the gods.
It's a beautiful example of the diversity of human experience. We shouldn't lose sight of that as we navigate this increasingly complex world.
Absolutely. And speaking of complex, let's go back to those protests in London. It's easy to dismiss Tommy Robinson and his supporters as extremists, but their grievances are rooted in real anxieties about things like globalization, immigration, and economic insecurity.
You're right. We can't just ignore these anxieties, even if we disagree with the solutions being proposed.
Yeah.
We need to understand where they're coming from and find ways to address them constructively.
Otherwise, these divisions in society will only deepen, leading to more polarization and conflict.
And that's where things like National Storytelling Week in the UK come in. Stories have the power to connect us, to build empathy, to help us see the world through someone else's eyes.
It's a reminder that we're all part of the same human family, even if we have different backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences.
And it's not just about fictional stories. Black History Month and LGBT plus History Month are opportunities to learn about the struggles and triumphs of those who have been marginalized, and to celebrate the richness and diversity of our shared history.
It's about recognizing that our society is a tapestry woven from countless threads, each one representing a unique individual story.
And each one contributing to the beauty and complexity of the whole.
And sometimes those threads get tangled, leading to friction and even conflict. The clash between Tommy Robinson's supporters and the counter-protesters is a reminder that freedom of speech is a messy, complicated thing.
It's a delicate balancing act between protecting individual liberties and preventing hate speech that can incite violence and discrimination. There are no easy answers.
But engaging in open and honest dialogue, even with those we disagree with, is a crucial step towards finding common ground and building a more just and equitable society.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the core purpose of this deep dive: to explore complex issues, to connect the dots, and to encourage you to think critically about the world around you.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the heights of technological innovation to the depths of human emotion.
We've seen the power of AI, the devastating impact of natural disasters, the resilience of the human spirit, and the importance of cultural traditions.
It's a lot to process, but that's the beauty of it. There's always something new to learn, something new to discover.
And we've only just scratched the surface. Now it's your turn to take the reins. What resonated with you the most? What questions are you left pondering? What connections have you made?
We encourage you to dive deeper into these topics, to explore different perspectives, and to continue learning and growing.
Remember, the world is a vast and complex place, full of wonder, beauty, and endless possibilities for exploration.
So go forth, dear listener, and embrace the complexity. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the fascinating world around us. But before we sign off, we'd love to hear your thoughts.
What stood out to you the most? What will you explore further? Share your insights and continue the conversation.
Stay curious, stay engaged, and stay connected. We've covered a lot of heavy stuff today. Wars, hurricanes, AI potentially taking over the world.
Yeah, some complex and challenging issues for sure, but even amidst all that, we've seen some incredible examples of human resilience, creativity, and even a touch of humor.
Right, like that Lunar New Year tradition in Taiwan where people borrow money from the gods. Can you imagine going to your local temple and being like, hey, can I get a loan to boost my business luck?
It's a fascinating blend of spirituality and practicality, isn't it? And it speaks to that, that universal desire for security and prosperity, no matter where you live or what you believe.
Yeah, and it also reminds us that there's often more to a story than meets the eye. We might see a headline about a cultural practice that seems strange or unfamiliar, but when we dig deeper, we discover this rich tapestry of beliefs and traditions that have evolved over centuries.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things I love about these deep dives. We get to peel back the layers and explore the nuances of different cultures and perspectives.
And speaking of different perspectives, those protests in London really highlight the challenges of navigating a society where freedom of speech is so highly valued.
Yeah, it's a delicate balancing act, isn't it? On one hand, we want to protect individual liberties and allow for open dialogue. But on the other hand, we need to recognize that words can have real-world consequences and hate speech can incite violence and discrimination.
It's a tough one, and there are no easy answers. But one thing's for sure, those clashes in London, they're a symptom of these deeper societal tensions that need to be addressed somehow.
And that's where events like National Storytelling Week, Black History Month, and LGBT plus History Month can play a vital role. They provide platforms for marginalized voices to be heard and for us to broaden our understanding of different experiences and perspectives.
Right. It's about recognizing that our society is made up of, countless individuals, each with their own unique story to tell. And those stories, when woven together, create this rich tapestry of human experience.
Beautifully put. And it brings us back to the core purpose of our deep dives. Connecting the dots, exploring the interconnectedness of events and ideas, and encouraging you to think critically and engage with the world around you.
We've journeyed from the cutting edge of AI development to the heart of cultural traditions, from the devastation of natural disasters to the complexities of geopolitical conflicts.
We've seen the fragility and resilience of the human spirit, the challenges and the opportunities that lie ahead.
So much to unpack, but what resonated with you the most from our deep dive today? What questions are you left pondering? What connections have you made?
Yeah, we encourage you to delve deeper into the topics that spark your curiosity. Research the history of the Israel-Palestine conflict, explore the ethical implications of open source AI, learn more about the impact of Hurricane Milton on Florida, or discover the cultural significance of storytelling traditions around the world.
The possibilities are endless. And remember, the journey of discovery is just as important as the destination.
So stay curious, keep exploring, and keep asking questions. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into this fascinating world around us. Until then, keep learning and growing.
And keep those connections strong. Thanks for joining us.